everybody, welcome to Bura. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about how Apple is reportedly going to buy EA. Alright, welcome back. So, this is very interesting news. You can see here that Apple might be buying EA, although this article says it doesn't seem likely to happen. Now, believe it or not, EA and Apple are very similar companies, even though Apple has seen quite a bit of growth over EA here. Now, I believe at one point in time, 20 years ago, EA and Apple were, similar sized. But here's the thing though, these companies actually follow a very logical progression of what companies usually follow, and they're actually quite similar. And I decided to dig in some of the things that I thought were quite interesting when it comes to how similar these companies really are. So first of all, I want to kind of read some of this is Electronics, it's kind of its statement way back when it was founded here. Now, Electronic Arts, if we just take a look at the name, Electronic Arts here. Now, if you don't know, in the early days of Electronic Arts, what they would do is they would put kind of the programmer's name on the box art of some of the boxes. And the reason why they did that is they thought that it would be kind of like a music album. So like, you had a record, like an old school record, and you had the art and the name of the band or whatever. Well, Electronic Arts wanted to do something different here. This is something here. Can a computer make you cry here? Now, whatever you think of Electronic Arts today, it definitely started out in a different area. Software that is worthy of the minds that use it here. It was a very user-centric company here. Now, when companies first start out, the founders are usually kind of quote-unquote creative types or the creative entrepreneurs. And when a company like this is founded, they have all of the major innovative ideas and they push that company forward through their innovation here. But somewhere along the way, managerial types go and take over the company. Think of like a train on a track. So a manager wants to make as much money as possible, and that's completely at odds with the innovation, because innovation is not like that at all. You can do 10 things and they'll all fail here, and that 11th thing that you thought that would not work ends up working out, right? So innovation and managerial types are completely opposite here. But this is what happens with a lot of companies here. And companies that fail to utilize these kind of ideas here end up failing in the long run here. So Electronic Arts was definitely like that here. And a lot of companies are like that. And Apple, if you think of Steve Jobs was visionary in what he wanted to do. And every time that a new Mac product came out, it was always something that was better than the last one and innovative as well. So Steve Jobs and Apple and Electronic Arts have very similar backgrounds here. And of course, they have now switched to that managerial train on a track mode. And I can take a look at this, and the easiest way to look at this is the iPhones here. So like the iPhones are one of Apple's major profit centers here. And I believe, I can't remember, it was between the iPhone 7, maybe the iPhone 8, where they just got rid of the headphone jack, right? They just said, hey, it's the same thing mostly, but there's no headphone jack here. And there hasn't been a headphone jack in a while here. So you can see that, these iPhones are kind of like, wait for it, FIFA iterations here. Now, I can't believe this was like almost 10 years ago, but I remember reading this article on Slashdot here where a new FIFA, apparently FIFA 13, was barely different from FIFA 12, right? And they decided to just push it up for a 30-pound roster update. So they took the same version before and they basically changed a few things like the roster of the football or soccer players, and like changed some of the art assets minimally and charged 30 pounds for it, right? Which adjusted for inflation, that's probably closer to what, 40-50 pounds, which is like $60 today or more. Anyway, so you can see that there, again, this is 10 years ago, and you can see that the iPhone systems are more in line with like kind of FIFA updates, like FIFA every year. And that's a huge profit center for EA too, right? I think it's where they make most of their money. You can see that they're very similar here, but in recent times here, Apple has now gone back to the innovative here, and they're kind of marrying the train on a track, make as much money as possible with innovations, with kind of new products here, kind of like the iMac is new, and the Mac Studio and whatnot. And you can kind of see that they're going back to that innovative part that made the company great. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, you want to make as much money as possible, but you also have to stay in the game. And of course, Apple is going to come out with some AR technology here. And apparently that has been shown to the board very recently here. I could probably find an article on that here. So what does this really mean, Apple buying EA? Well, we know that they're kind of very similar companies here. And perhaps if Apple were to purchase EA, that is quite a bit of money, but it's also quite a bit of IP. And does this mean that Apple will start making Macs that are good for gaming? I mean, that's also a little bit weird because historically, Apple does not like video games because Steve Jobs didn't really like video games anywhere here. But it's possible that this would be a huge shift here. Now, of course, Apple is always rumored to buy Netflix here. So what if Apple were to purchase EA and Netflix? That would be huge for Apple because Apple has not wanted to get into the IP here. The other thing is that if there's any company that Apple should buy, it's most likely Nintendo. Now, Nintendo is known for making high quality, innovative products that really stand the test of time. My friend has an old Nintendo Entertainment System, like the 8-bit one, and it still works. I can't believe that. It's almost 40 years old and it still works, right? So they do make really good, high quality products. So if there's any fit for a company to purchase, it would be Nintendo. Now, of course, Disney would love to purchase Nintendo here, but this is interesting. Nevertheless, I think it's a really interesting development here. Now, that concludes this video. I want to know your thoughts down below. Will Apple buy EA? Is it a good idea? Do you like Apple or EA? Do you think that they're similar in terms of companies? And do you think that Apple is coming out and being more innovative? And will that mean EA going back to their original mission statement? Are all of these things going to happen? Please comment on this video. This video does not get a lot of comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.